Now this illustration deals with a metal underground water pipe in accordance with NEC 250.53D as in dog. Now the first thing a designer or electrician has to do is to review the water piping system as you see to the right of the illustration. Metal water pipe, that's the title head. We would review 250.52A1 to determine if the water piping system was an electrode. And as previously stated, 10 feet or more of it has to be in the earth for it to be considered an electrode. If it's not an electrode, in other words, the supply from the utility is non-metallic, then you would review 250.104A as an apple. And the only difference, if it's not an electrode, you can connect to it at any accessible location. But if it is considered an electrode by 250.52A1, then you have to terminate to it with a grounding electrode conductor within 5 foot where it enters into the building. Now, with that thought in mind, let's review the note. The note states that the water pipe has to be supplemented. And whatever you supplement it with, if it's a driven rod, for example, has to have a 25 ohm or less reading in accordance with 250.53D2 as well as 250.53A2 exception. Now, let's review the 250 kc mil that's entering in and terminating to the main circuit breaker in the panel board. Now, based upon 250 kc mil, a grounding electrode conductor to connect to the water pipe system would be sized from table 250.66 based upon the 250 kc mil. So as you see in the illustration then, it's a number 2 AWG copper in accordance with 250.52A1 because it is an electrode as described in 250.52A1. And the metal water piping system is installed by 250.53D as in dog. The table 250.66 is used to size that number 2 based upon the 250 kc mil. Then you have listed the main bonding jumper as MBJ. Notice 250.90, 250.92, 250.94. And then, of course, 250.28A is an apple and D is in dog must be reviewed. Then we get a full picture of just exactly what that main bonding jumper has to be sized from, used from, what type of bonding jumper could it be, a screw, a strap, a conductor, a bus bar, all that's listed in these sections as you review them. So the supplementary electrode here is connected to a driven rod, so it would be a number 6 in accordance with 250.66A as in apple, and it must have a 25 ohm or less reading on it, or another driven electrode rod would be driven. And sometimes you might have to drive as many as 3 or 4 to obtain the 25 ohms if that is what you're seeking. And then notice we refer you to a figure loop, figure 16-65, for more information pertaining to that. But notice if you wanted to really review and detail this supplementary electrode, what could be used and so forth, go to 250.53D as in dog 2, 250.52A5 is an apple, and 250.53A2 exception is an apple. And that tells you everything you need to know about that driven rod if that's what's being used. But I would like to point out that you could use a concrete encased electrode. But we're saying in this illustration that concrete encased electrode you see to the right is stress cables and would not be considered as one of the items in 250.52A3 that could be used as a grounding electrode and systems such as a concrete encased electrode. So keep this information in mind as you review a metal underground water pipe system and considering, is it an electrode, 250.52A1? No, it's not an electrode. We have non-metallic supply coming in, 250.104A that we would review. And then, of course, the water pipe has to be supplemented. So this illustration, 16-73, illustrates and outlines the information needed to understand the installation of a metal underground water pipe with its electrode system, main bonding jumpers, supplementary grounds, and so forth, in accordance with NEC 250.53 D as in dog.